Welcome to the kitchen. This is going to be a single take cook through of a sausage and greens pasta with some flavour. We've got the pasta on already because that's going to take a good 10 or 12 minutes to cook through. So we're doing this as a portion for two. So we've got about 4 handfuls of pasta, and that's in water that's been quite liberally salted, and it's up to the boil. So that's just going to sit there whilst we cook the rest of what we've got. So quickly to talk through what we're going to be cooking. I've got some Wagyu sausages, some nice beef sausages. You could use any sausages here. You could use turkey, chicken, pork. The one thing I would say would be try and get the best quality sausage that you can get for the budget that you've got. So we've got our sausages. Then on the greens, we've got some broccoli. It's a little bit limp, but that's okay. We're going to cook it up nicely. Got some kale as well, and some spring onions. Pretty gnarly spring onions, but we'll make those work. Pasta is already on to boil, and then for flavour, we've got some fennel seeds, some garlic granules, and some Aleppo pepper. So let's start with the sausages and get those on to cook. I'm going to try and do this without actually touching the sausages so that I don't have to wash my hands, which is why I've got a fork. So what we'll do is we'll just cut the sausages up into small little bite-sized pieces. I'll put those across into our pan, and I've just noticed that pan's not yet actually on. Sausage escaped. Apply the 10-second rule and no one will notice. So let's turn this pan on. So you could, if you wanted, go through the rigmarole of taking the skin off the sausage and forming them into nice little meatballs. But really for a quick midweek dinner, I don't think you really need to do that. It's absolutely fine. Try not to drop any more on the floor. So that's the sausages in the pan. This is a fantastic pan, by the way. It's a Gino Campo pan. We bought it when we moved into our new house, and all of our cooking stuff was all squirreled away. It was all in boxes, and we needed a pan to be able to cook on. So went into the supermarket and got one of the cheapest pans we could find, but it's actually served us really well. It's a non-stick pan, and it's still, after 3 or 4 months, it's still actually holding up really well. You can see that it's well used, it's a little bit beaten, it's not quite round anymore. But no, that's a really good pan that serves us quite well. So let's get on with the greens whilst the sausages start to cook and brown. Let's get some of the broccoli. Let's do 10 stalks of broccoli. And with these, we're just gonna get rid of the gnarly ends. I guess there's nothing really wrong with those end bits, but they can just be a little bit gnarly and not necessarily the most pleasant. Just put those in our rubbish bowl at the back. Give the sausages a bit of a shuffle around. And with the broccoli, we're simply going to take it from the stalk end, and we're just going to slice those stalks so they're, what's that, at the most a ½ centimetre, maybe a third of a centimetre in size. And then as we get to the floury ends, we can just more roughly just cut through. And that's our broccoli ready to be all dropped on the floor, no doubt. Now with the kale, again, let's see how much of this we want to use. I think that should be enough. And with the kale, just deciding what to do with the stalks, whether we're going to use the stalks or not, and I think we will. We'll do the same thing as far as bunching them together, just to get rid of that really gnarly end bit. And with these, we just chop through the stalk like that. And as we're now no longer really got much stalk, we can just do some bigger baked pieces. So we've got the stalk end really quite fine, and then the other end, the leaf end, is more chunky bits of leaf. And of course, I've got a glass of water, always stay hydrated. Let me just get a bench scraper actually. So we can put all of our greens into this bowl. You'll notice that I've not used any oil at all, and that's largely because we're using the sausages, and the sausages have got a good amount of grease in them already. So if you were using something which was a bit leaner, so maybe if you were using a turkey sausage, then I'd maybe recommend using maybe a tablespoon or so of olive oil, or a vegetable oil, but like I say, because we've got sausages that have got a good amount of fat in them, we don't need anything additional. The pasta is getting on quite nicely. So we've got our greens. Let's tackle the spring onions. I don't know why we buy spring onions like this in the UK, because undoubtedly we'll end up throwing most of our spring onions away. So we'll just take some of this outer skin off. We'll chop the end off, the root end. Get rid of the paper skin off the end. And we'll go just one more. And with the spring onions, we're going to cut these on an angle, just give the sausages another little juggle around. I just heard they slightly changed the sound that they were making, so they've gone from being like quite a harsh sizzle to being a bit more gentle in how they're going. And you can see after shaking it around, we've got these nice kind of brown sticky bits on the outside. So that's the Maillard reaction. That's the sugars in the sausage caramelizing and making it ultra delicious. So back to the spring onions. We'll cut these on an angle. I'll just do it through on one to show you. So keeping the knife nicely away from the hand and keeping the fingers tucked away. So if the knife does come close to the hand, then those knuckles really act as that bridge to stop the blade going anywhere near the fingers. So we can cut those into little, I don't know, what shape would you call that? It's kind of like half a chevron, I guess. And we can just go through the rest of those. And the spring onions don't need much cooking really. So we'll put those in towards the end. And now that the sausages are just about done, they're looking really good, we'll check the pasta again. And just by stirring it, I can feel that it's not quite cooked. Hopefully you can see that now. So I can just feel like as it's going against the edge, it's not quite cooked, but it's getting there. So I'm just going to turn the flame down on the pasta a little bit as well, just so that begins to simmer rather than boil. We can take our greens and we can put these straight into the pan with the sausages. And give that a bit of a smudge down to try and get those greens onto the pan, give it a bit of a stir around. And like I said, it's the fat from the sausages that's going to help us cook the greens. So now let's move the spring onions into our bowl here for a minute, and let's talk about some flavours. So I've gone with these three things here. So we've got some fennel, some garlic granules, and some Aleppo pepper. You could absolutely use fresh garlic if you wanted. I just find garlic granules are so quick and easy to use, and they provide a much subtler flavour than raw garlic. So I quite like using garlic granules. Next up, Aleppo pepper, just for a little bit of heat. It's not to make it spicy, but it's just to give it that kind of that zing, that little bit of like, there's something there. You could use cayenne pepper or paprika. You could use something like sumac to give it that lemony zing. But I love Aleppo pepper. It's fruity rather than spicy. And it's absolutely perfect for a dish like this. And then finally, I've got the fennel seeds. Now, I have a confession to make about my fennel seeds, because I was hunting through my drawer and I was like, I'm sure I've got fennel seeds. And sure enough, there at the back of the drawer, there's this packet of fennel seeds. And you all know that you should be using your herbs and spices as fresh as possible. But these ones are slightly beyond their shelf use by date. It doesn't mean to say they're bad, it's just that their flavour won't be as fresh and as punchy as fresh ones. And when I say that it's past its shelf use by date, I don't know if you can read that there, that's 2016. So yeah, so they're 8 years beyond their use by date. If you have anything in your cupboards which is older than 8 years, drop a note in the comments below with what year your oldest herb or spice is that you've got in your cupboard. So Let's just go back in, turn the heat up on this again slightly, give it a bit of a stir through. You can see that the greens have started to wilt down. And this is where we're going to do all of this by eye. So we're going to use around about should we call that a teaspoon of garlic granules? And then we're going to go in with probably about the same, about a teaspoon of Aleppo pepper. And of course, if you're using something which has got a higher spice to it, like a cayenne pepper or a hot paprika, then absolutely use slightly less, but do it to your palate, do it to how you like it. And if you don't know how you like it, then try it with just a little bit, and then if you think you need more, then add a bit more. Yeah. So always try as you're going along. See if you like it, see if it's good. That broccoli is very nearly cooked right now. So let's go in with our fennel. It's so old I can't even open the packet. And we'll go in with, what's that, that's 1 tablespoon, probably 2 tablespoons of fennel. Again, I'm using maybe slightly more than I would normally because it's a bit older. Not even sure why I'm putting the clip back on. It should really go in the bin probably. But so that's the spice done. We've still got the spring onions to go, and we've still got the pasta to go with it as well. Let's have a look at this pasta, see how it's doing. We'll take a bit out. Let's see how it's doing over on the board here. So we can see there, if I can lift that up onto its end. So the pasta is actually cooked through now. You can feel that it's got that slight bite to it, and as you run the knife through it, it's got a slight bit of tension, bit of resistance, but it's absolutely cooked perfectly. So we'll turn the water off on the pasta. Give all of this a stir. And then what we can do is we can transfer our pasta into the sausage. Just check I've turned that off. That's on medium low heat. We'll transfer the spaghetti. It's not even spaghetti, it's rigatoni. I said spaghetti because it's Spaghetti-saurus who's helping us today. If you've not got a Spaghetti-saurus in your life, you really should. If I can find out where we got it from, I'll put a link in the description below, so you can get yourself a Spaghetti-saurus. It's one of the most useful tools in the kitchen. Just a couple more bits of rigatoni in there. Get our spatula, give that all a bit of a mix. And we can turn the heat off that now. That's ready to serve. So we can get our 2 serving bowls. It's not ready to serve. Who forgot the spring onions? Let's put those through. Give those a bit of a stir in. Oh, it would have been spoiled, would have been ruined if we didn't have the spring onions. Good job you spotted that, well done. And let's take this and plate up a couple of really healthy portions of sausage and greens pasta. Making sure each plate gets a good amount of sausage, good amount of pasta. I can smell that fennel. Because it's been cooked in a relatively dry pan, that fennel flavour has really started to pop. You can see on the pan, if you look just up here, you might be able to see the fennel's just started to catch on the pan there. Put a bit more in this one here, a little bit on top there. And that's it. That's our sausage, broccoli, and kale pasta with some awesome flavours. Play around with it, change the herbs and spices that you use, change the sausage type that you use. And if you do try this, let me know down in the comments what you found the easiest and what you really enjoyed about it. If you don't already subscribe, then please do subscribe to the channel. It's through your subscriptions, through your liking the video, through you watching this all the way to this point where you've reached it at the end, that it really helps me as a channel to build the community and to be able to make more videos like this. And if you've enjoyed this, then let me know down in the comments, and we'll see if we can get another one done in the very near future. Let me know what you'd like to see. Have an awesome evening, awesome day, wherever you are. Till next time, goodbye.